rewind a little bit, can you remember your first downhill race?
Yeah, the mini downhills. I remember being sat preparation for them. Me and you and Angus sat in the library at high school, and we're looking up like, Cal McGee, who was also in our high school at the time. We had a lot of animosity there. There was some tension,
Yeah,
and
actually, just explain like how difficult it was for you to transition from a moto, being able to take somebody out, people
mhm.
taking you out, like full contact, like a bit of stuff going on in the pits, animosity being normal, to then going over to mountain biking. Because I'm sure lots of people that have interacted with you on that come up would have felt a bit of
Yeah,
friction
yeah,
from
yeah.
you. It's a good time to explain that, like, you know,
Yeah,
you were just bringing that moto energy over, and that must have been kind of weird.
yeah. Hindsight, I would like to. I don't just want to put the blame on somebody else, but at the same time, I don't want to take the blame because it was my upbringing from such a young age. The way my parents taught me to be and think, in order to, it's a big bad world. It's not fair. It really isn't fair. That is the reality of it, and that was their upbringing. That the ones who are fucking mean and get stuck in are the ones that get what they want to an extent, and that wasn't. That don't take that as like oh my god, they taught them to be really mean. It wasn't like that. It was just the sports that we were into. If you're gonna go and do it, you're gonna win, And if other people, for me in motocross, there's a gate of 40 of you, and you can directly affect someone else's race. I can crash into somebody, knock them off the track, and I can win the race. Therefore, you are a direct competitor for me, And mountain biking isn't that. It's a clock. It's just on your own, which took me forever to get over. And I've never really, I wouldn't say I've fully gotten over it. I'm still quite I'm a fierce competitor. Like I wouldn't like to go against myself. I do like to move people out the way, and that's, you kind of have to be like that. Top guys in a lot of sport are quite mean, and people say selfish in a way, and you do have to be like that to get to the top in sport. It is just the way it is. But I probably took it too far quite a few times with competition that, they weren't really competition, but I was like making, fierce competition all the time because it made it easier for me. If I hated you, it made it easier to compete against you because I could just ignore you, and that was simple, it simplified my life. If I wanted to be friends, if I had to be friends with you and I struggled to get on with you, I find it really hard. I'm trying to balance this fake friendship. So it was easier for me to just go, you know what? No, I don't like any of you. I'm just going to, it's only me out there. And that kept it simple for me in my head. So I think that's kind of what it was. But I don't know. It was definitely quite mean. There was a lot of stuff was quite mean. I look back.
No, it's a fun insight because, yeah, I guess people are expected to be so like polite and stuff all the time, but as you say, it's sometimes necessary to almost create an enemy in order for you to get that, whatever that is, in order to be able to defeat someone, because otherwise it's just you and you. So
yeah. Well, I guess, there's probably a lot of rugby players and stuff. For me, coming from motocross was like going from a rugby field where you're on side. I wouldn't say it's on a team. Imagine you just stood on your own and there's a whole enemy team facing you. That's what it felt like riding motocross. You've got however many other guys pointing at you, angry faces, ready to have your head off. And it's you against all of them. And then going to downhill was the opposite. It was like me stood on the line looking up and there being nobody there. And now the new aim of the game is just to get to the other end as fast as you can and lay the ball down. But there's no obstacles in between, There's not like a gauge. There wasn't a mark. If I got a bad start in a motocross race, you can clearly see the people in front of you and you can clearly see how far you're going to have to go in order to win the race. On downhill or mountain biking in general, most sports and most aspects of mountain biking, you haven't got a clue. Like you're just... you're riding down in La La Land, just guessing whether you're going fast or not, and you had to wait until you crossed the line and everybody else crossed the line before you could actually get a result. So to begin with, I was like, it was just an annoying position to be in because I was enjoying riding the bike so much, but I wasn't getting that, like, as soon as you cross the line on a motocross race, you've won. You can see yourself, you're feeling yourself winning. For, it could be the whole race you could be in the lead for and you're pulling away from second place and you get like 15 minutes of riding around with that winning emotion, and I just didn't get that in downhill. So I was loving riding my mountain bike and racing, but I wasn't enjoying the racing, if you know what I mean. It was really strange to begin with. It took me a long time to separate motocross and downhill into two different things.
But I remember, like, it would just naturally there would be enemies created that I'm sure it's all water under the bridge now for all those people and whatever. But like it would be to the point where I was just like, oh, at least I'm on this side, you know.
Yeah. No, I can. There's a lot of people that I would say I would apologize, but I would like to see I would like to think if I've seen them out in public. I think a lot of them I have. You know, I've seen since, and I'd like to think they'd have left the conversation they had with me thinking, he's actually all right. You know, he was just doing what he needed to do. You know, it was like there are just people will know that if you've ever been up against a fierce competitor before that was beating you every single week, and you were just like, they just had you mentally beat. Like that's kind of what it's about. That's what sport's about. You know, it's head game, it's mental game, and it wasn't that my dad taught me to be mean to other people, because that's not what I was being. He just taught me to want to win so badly that nobody else matters. Like that's really what it came down to, you know? And yeah, as a kid, I took that on board, and I wholeheartedly took that on board. Like it was done, signed and delivered for me. It made perfect sense.
Do you still carry some of that same energy today?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I just feel like I've obviously matured a little bit. You know how to control it. You know when to use it, when not to use it, how much of it to use. But yeah, I have a lot of enjoyment, I would say, out of that kind of like mindset. You know, putting yourself in different mindsets or playing with other people's mindsets. It's a fun game.
So it's fun. Like racing is fun.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a hellhole of a time at the same time. But it's also fun. Yeah. It's everything. That's the point. It's life in a sport. You know, it's like a whole other life added to your life. It's just double life. It's the same stuff just happening in different situations.
Racing, double life.
Double life.
Double your life
Rainbows
by going racing.